All right, so hey, it's new skills, new you, it's Bruce, with my favorite editor, Rachel Arterberry. She actually, if you haven't already, grab Better Questions, Better Clients. I'll put the link in the bottom. She's actually the editor, so she's the reason it makes sense.
Thank you very much. So is it
Uh,
all published and ready? It's out there?
I sent the cover design today, and then I paid the printer, so we just got a format. Let's see, I did a final edits format. Yeah, that's it. I'll get the cover. We'll format and we'll print. So hopefully next 2
Nice.
weeks. Yes. Thank
Yay! I
you.
love
Thank
that. I love it.
you. I'm excited. It's been really uh, an adventure in so many good ways. Um, Thanks for being a part of it. Yeah, I'm excited. You'll get you a copy. We'll get you a finished copy.
Good, good. I do have a quick question for you.
Hmm.
You're on Google Meet. Are you is it a paid version or a free version? Because I noticed that it's automatically transcribing. I got a little message that said transcribing.
That is the paid version. Yeah, you can't do that on
Paid
the.
version.
Yeah, it's not bad. $15
Yeah.
a month, I think. $20 a month.
Is that what it is? Yeah. I
Th-
have one of my team members looking for a free version to do transcription, and I think they're all paid.
She might be able to get away with Zoom, but I think it caps you at like 40 minutes a session. Now,
Mm.
it's really easy. You just stop it and restart it, and you get another 40 minutes. But I don't know.
Oh
If,
yeah.
if you just don't want
Yeah.
to pay anybody, that's the only thing I got for you.
I know.
I think
Yeah.
Otter
Nothing.
AI will transcribe, but that's capped at 30 minutes. They're really being a lot more stingy these days.
Yeah. I use Fathom, which I
Oh, yeah.
love.
Did
It
you want me to let that in?
transcribes. No, don't worry. No worries. Fine.
Oh, okay.
I was like, because you're recording.
Yeah, I like that one too, but Google's been treating me pretty well, at least for like one-on-ones or coaching sessions. Not a
Yeah.
great tool for webinars. I don't know if that's
Oh,
you were planning on doing
yeah,
any
too.
webinars anyway, but um, I'm still finding something I like for webinars. But Google takes
Mm.
good care of me. I run the whole. I worked for a startup and we were acquired, and they ran the whole business, like a 9-figure business in Google Workspace. So I was like, all right, it's good enough for them. It's good enough for
Yeah.
me. Little,
Seriously,
a
yeah.
little ways to go to be 9 figures, but you know,
Yeah. 9 figures. I'm like, shoot,
yeah,
that's a lot of digits.
it was great. It was crazy. And that's honestly
Yeah.
where a lot of the concepts like I wrote about in the book come from, because I'm like, okay, I started off horribly there. And what I realized, I was like, why can't I get any appointments, get any meetings? I wasn't clear on the promise. And like, okay, yeah, Bruce, you're calling me, you're emailing me, you're on LinkedIn, telling me, ask me for a meeting, but why do we want to have this meeting? What's in it for me? And that's a simple question, but I don't know. I know I wasn't answering it very well. And so now, as an entrepreneur, the answer is a lot easier because I'm like, hey, listen, I'm going to help you hear yes more often. If you have too much business, that's fine. We don't have to talk. But if you do want some more business, let's talk about what that looks like. So I want to walk through your business and see what, like, just some tweaks so you can run a little smoother, hear yes more often.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's much needed.
okay, well, let's talk about it. So for it's always the people, the promise, process, pricing, over and over and over again. So for the people, where did your last client come from?
I have had great success over the last couple of months on LinkedIn,
Really?
getting clients finding me on LinkedIn. And in fact, I just realized I've been keeping a tracker, like just a Google sheet of where they came from, like their contact name, information, whatever, when I
Smart.
spoke to them so I could follow up. And I've been getting quite a few through LinkedIn. And the reason being is that I hired somebody to do lots and lots of posting for me. So she's posting.
Smart.
Hopefully you're seeing it because I know we're friends on LinkedIn or connected. She's posting, I think, twice a day for me, various relevant topics. So my most recent client came through LinkedIn. Well,
Oh,
what she did was she came through LinkedIn to my website from LinkedIn, and then she went to my website and then did my contact form on my website. But she started at LinkedIn.
fascinating. Who's picking out this content?
So the marketing woman that I hired is she and I kind of talk about it once a week of like, pain points or things that people are upset about or, those kinds of things. And she's writing articles about it.
Hmm. Oh, wow. So forgive
So
me, I haven't seen these, but that's because I'm doing an experiment right now on LinkedIn where I
you're doing a
unfollowed
what?
every person.
Oh.
I'm doing an experiment. So I
Oh, you
unfollowed everyone.
did? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I've been posting. I think she's doing it twice a day.
Hmm.
And my impressions are up from like 200 to like 1,400 in a matter of 2 months or something like that. So it's definitely getting a lot more hits.
Wow.
A lot of hits. It's working. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Um,
Well, how is your experiment going? What are you doing to see?
I'm I'm trying to figure out what people are seeing based on their activity so I can reverse engineer it and be seen a little bit more. Um,
hmm
One thing that's interesting is I've been seeing a lot of posts from 2 weeks ago for the first time. So writing things in a little bit less time sensitive manner, like, hey, tomorrow I'm doing this or next. So that's kind of changed my perspective. And then
hmm
also it's changed. I realized that interacting with pages is really having them show up more. And so figuring
Yeah.
out, okay, what do I need to write where someone wants to comment? It's been an interesting adventure.
And what she has told me, which I don't do enough of, it's not only you commenting when they, engage with you, but you going out and commenting on other people's stuff
Hmm.
because then you're driving traffic, right? You're changing the engagement.
Exactly. And again, I'm just kind of testing these things as I go.
Mm,
So I love the content, or I love the consistency. I'll have to go through the content to. I don't see. Let me click on a piece now. Oh, it's a whole article. Okay, there it
mm-hmm,
is, and there is a call to action.
mm-hmm.
Oh no, this is good. This is really good. No notes. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
So
been pleased. She's doing a good job, I think, in this regard.
okay, beautiful. Where so number two under LinkedIn, where would you say the last client, I should say, came from?
Mm, referrals for me is huge.
Okay.
And then Thumbtack.
Thumbtack.
Are you familiar with
Okay.
Thumbtack?
Let's talk about Thumbtack. Yes. Explain it though for someone
I
maybe doesn't know.
I get a ton of work through Thumbtack. A
Mhm.
ton. So while I'm trying to ramp up getting more work from LinkedIn and it is working, I have traditionally gotten a lot of work through Thumbtack. So Thumbtack is really a referral system. Kind of like remember the old Angie's List,
Yeah.
right? So it was kind of like there's all of these people out there and you bid on a job, right? Kind of. So when people are looking for, let's say they'll put in writing or editing services, my name is going to pop up on the list.
Hmm.
And I think they can send an offer or a inquiry to like 4 or 5 people. And it is a little time sensitive. So you have, they always say the faster you reply, the faster, how is the saying? The faster you reply, the quicker the response, right? So if I wait and I don't respond till tomorrow, I've probably lost my chances.
Hmm.
So I mean, anyone that comes throughout the day, I am sitting at my desk anyway. They pop up on my screen. I replied. Um, you set a budget. In other words, for every one that comes through, I have to pay for the referral.
Interesting. Yeah, I do
Right.
remember that. Whether or not they work with you or hire you, correct?
Correct.
Hmm.
Correct. Correct. Which honestly, I've set my budget pretty low, but it's paid off. So I only spend $50 a week,
Okay.
which gives me, it depends on your industry. It gives me typically 2 to 3 leads per week. And I'm getting 2 to 3 leads consistently. Sometimes they're garbage, right?
Okay, we're gonna
Like
talk about that. Yeah.
it's based on your profile and your preferences. So I very clearly have said, because it's a different kind of clientele that comes through there, I very clearly spell out in my preferences that I don't do any academic work. In other words, if you're a college kid and you want me to write your paper because you didn't do your homework last night, don't reach out to me, right? But the number of those that slip through and they'll be like, you know what, this is the requirements for my class. And I'm like, no, I'm not writing your paper. It's an ethical thing. Like, could I do it? Yes. I have it. My daughter's in college. Nope, I'm not doing it. But so those are kinds of things so they get through. But then again, I have a client, my largest client ever came to Thumbtack. He reached out, he was looking for a ghostwriter, and I landed a contract with him for like $30,000. So my $50 a week paid off for itself.
Yeah, I think we're good. I'm not a mathematician.
I think we're good.
Actually, I am a mathematician, but that's my point.
Yeah, but I think 50 to 30,000 is pretty good. I think
I'll take it any day. Okay. So Thumbtack, I'm hearing the challenge is time sensitive and lead quality, but the ROI is there. Okay.
Yeah, it really is. And I've gotten a lot of, most of the jobs that I do from there, of course, some of them are small, but the small ones are balanced with the big ones. I've done a ton of jobs that are a couple $1,000s a piece. Okay. So it's definitely the ROI is good for me.
Beautiful.
Now, I have to tell you, it doesn't work for every industry. If you're thinking about like for other people, my husband, as a motivational speaker, he's on there, and it never worked for him. He never got a single lead. So it's really very specific to the types of the industry that you're in.
I think that's good advice. Thank you for sharing that. So you said, all right, no college students, no academic work. Who can you serve with excellence? Who do you love to work with? Who do you like? Yes, this is it. What does that person look like? So, maybe somebody's watching this and they're like, hey, wait, that's me. And they want to reach out. What are those kind of key points?
Good question. So my sweet spot, the place that I love best are working with people like you. Truly, the people who have written something, maybe even ideas, it's not fully developed, but it needs work. My ideal position is when I can dive in there and pull it apart and put it back together. That's really what I love to do. In your case, we pulled it all apart.
Yeah,
right?
You were great.
And we put it back together. When I love to ghostwrite as well, meaning the person has an idea and they're going to literally share all of the information, the content through, phone calls, through video calls, whatever. But those are a different kind of project. But I'm going to call them developmental editing. It's the developmental editing projects that are really my ideal client, to answer your question.
Okay. So if I don't want to do any writing, but I want to give you the ideas, you can ghostwrite. But for me, and what you really love to do, someone who's got some words on the page, has a strong idea, and then you can do the developmental editing, you call it, and help bring that idea to life. Okay.
Yeah.
Any industry or topic is really okay.
No.
Visibility. Oh, beautiful.
I can do anything really. What I always say is I can ghostwrite anything as well, except fiction. I don't do fiction.
Interesting.
Because I don't. Fiction for me requires. I read a lot of fiction. It requires a certain type of imagination that I don't have. Right, imagination for the unknown, the unseen. Whereas a developmental edit is so unique that I can developmentally edit a fictional novel because the fact that it's there's words on paper, right? I can now fill in the holes. I can ask questions. I can engage with you, the author. It's a different process. I love that part.
Wait, let's clarify that then. So you don't ghostwrite for for fiction. You don't ghostwrite, but you can edit. Okay.
Yep.
I'm glad you said that. I didn't catch that the first time around.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense when you said the imagination. You can't really fill in the imaginative blanks for the person. But if they have some words on page, we can help polish the ideas. This one was for me. I'm sure someone else has it. well, I want it to sound like me. I want to do the writing. I just need a little help with the polish. What do you say to that person?
So that's really important that you as the author keep your voice, right? Because this isn't my story, it's not my words, it's not my book. Um, so that's where the recording, and as I mentioned to you before, I record all day, is the recordings are so important to me because I can put in the words or ask the right questions, but using, like in your case, you already had content. So now I know your tone of voice. I know the words that you like to use. I know that your writing style. I'm going to try to replicate that, filling in the blanks, right? Filling in the content, but using words that you would use. And I always go back to my friend Taria, right? She uses words like y'all and child. Like
That's how
the
she
first time
talks.
I edited, that's how she talks, right? The first time I edited for her, I changed her Chile to Child, and she said, no, I don't speak like that. I don't say child with the D. So that's important because, and that's what I get when I speak to people on the phone or on a video, because I get to hear it, right? It's not, she didn't spell it wrong. That's how she wanted it to read. So it's really important.
Intriguing.
So it's really why I love to engage with my authors, because I need to hear that. I need to hear that. I need to be able to understand, because it is very clear to me this is not my work. I'm just a tool for you. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
resource. If I'm writing it, I'm just the pen to paper.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I am. I'm just the tool that helps you present your best work. That's all.
That's good. So that's that. We're going to talk about that when we circle around to the promise a little bit. I want to go back to people. So Thumbtack's working, LinkedIn is beginning to work, and I'll keep a closer eye on it and see if I have any suggestions. Actually, the first suggestion I would have is testimonials. If you need one, I'd be happy to share one. Written or video is
Yes,
fine.
please. Yes, please.
Um,
Thank you.
I didn't see any of those on there. So other than that, I love the consistency. You're easy to find. I know what you do. I don't have to guess. So definitely 5 stars for the LinkedIn activity. I want to go back to
And
the
there is, if you
referral.
if you scroll all the way down, there's a couple. There are a couple there.
Okay. Okay, good, good.
3 or 4, I think.
It's more than zero. I'll take it. Referrals. It seems pretty obvious to me. This is one of my suggestions I had when I was preparing for a call, that you should go to people who have writers. How much of your conversations, or if your week is finding new referral partners?
Mm, yeah, not very much.
Not very much. I th-
All of my, and that's a really good point that you made. That so I'm not actively looking for referral partners, which is where I think you're going.
hmm
Referrals to me have always come from generous people like you. Like
hmm
I have gotten clients from you, like right, that you've given my name to. Taria has, past clients of mine have. So that's what I mean by referral. Somebody typically that I've worked with or that knows me have given me a referral. But
Okay.
can you explain what you mean by
Sure.
actively finding referrals?
Sure. So in the SaaS, excuse me, SaaS stands for software as a service for you space. We had channel partners. So that startup I was mentioning to you that was acquired, we had a platform, a SaaS platform that helped monitor all the activity for your online systems. And what we did was we found channel partners that supported the same customers we were looking for. So, for example, people that set up networks, people that set up cybersecurity, people that set up operations center, network operation centers. And so they became our partners. And so instead of us having to go find those clients, they introduced us to people they're already working with. So we call them channel partners because we're working together to serve the same client. For you, that would be a publisher. That would be a book writing coach. Shout out to Taria Vision Avant. She doesn't do that book writing program anymore. She's a Look Up Book Profit Club if you're an author and you want your book to profit. So someone that's teaching folks how to write a book and say, hey, listen, let's talk about a value add for your clients. And I imagine one or two things will happen. They'll say, hey, we already have someone. Thanks for reaching out. Or they'll say, hey, I don't know why I hadn't thought of that. Thank you for reaching out. Right. And it's really interesting how many people haven't thought of partnering with a reliable, experienced, and really personable editor. So that's an easier conversation because you're not, because I don't want to turn you into a killer closer or a master manipulator, right? It's not who you are. It's not who you want to be. So, but if you say, hey, publisher, you help people print their books. I help people. I wrote down, tell their story and keep their voice. Does it make sense? We work together. And they're going to say, well, what do you do? Editor and ghostwriter. Okay. Well, how long you been doing this? Right. And you'll have a conversation. And so you say, hey, if it's valuable, let's work together. If it's not, no hard feelings. But now you could talk to one person and let's say they have 10 clients this month. They have 10 clients next month, 10 clients. You're in front of 30 people over 90 days, but you only had to have one conversation. That's really where I'm picturing, like, let's leverage your experience. Let's leverage your expertise. And instead of giving you a sales training, let's just give you some introductions. So I would search writing coach, I would search publisher, and then you might even, this might be a little granular, but if you find someone who does book cover designs, right? Say, hey, I see you do book cover designs. Do you have an editor or editors that you work with? And I'll say, no, I don't. Well, yes, I do, but it's always good to have one more.
It's interesting because I've actually developed a relationship. Do you know Book Logic there in Atlanta?
Yeah.
Megan. So I met Megan when I was in Atlanta for Taria's for the event.
Oh.
And she and I have done that for one another. So she refers me for ghostwriting and editing, and I refer her some of my clients printing. So
see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So you're already doing it. What does that do on purpose? I
have to be more intentional about it. Is what I mean. Is in my example is it worked out that way with Megan, but I love your idea of actually making the introduction and being intentional about doing it.
Well, thank you. That's my specialty. So here's what it sounds like. I'll just give you the script. Say, hey, my name is Rachel. I'm an editor. I work with people like Book Logic that serves, the printing needs of their clients as one of their go-to editors. I'd love to see if a relationship similar makes sense for us. Are you open to a conversation? Right? I try to say that in your voice, right? Very value first. And so you're going to send that to 10, and 5 are going to ignore it, and 3 are going to say no thank you, and 2 are going to say, hey, let's talk. And one of them is going to say yes. And so now we're having more of those developmental editing clients that you love, right? We're doing a little bit larger projects because I know that's when you can get into your zone, right? And that's what I want for you. I want you to spend less time looking for clients and more time serving. So I want to find more Megans. That's my first recommendation for you. Find some more Megans, find some more Book Logics. Printers, that's obvious. I'm thinking publishers first, because if it's going to print, we might be too little late in the process.
Yeah.
But like Megan sends you business, so maybe it's not such a terrible idea. Yep. Publishers, coaches, printers.
Well, and you think about it. I get some of my clients from Megan because people finish their manuscript like you did, right? You wrote your manuscript and they think it's in good shape.
Oh no.
I have one client who came to me from not you. Megan sent me a client because the client was like, oh, it looks great. It was awesome. It's been proofread. It's been spell checked. And Megan went, I have an editor for you. It was a hot
Fascinating.
mess. So,
Okay, so let's pause right here. Listen, folks. Right now, we're 2025. Artificial intelligence is all over the place. Do not let artificial intelligence be your final edit for your book.
oh
It's
my
really
goodness.
great at spell checking, grammar, and even a little syntax. However, what a strong editor like Rachel can do for you is the things that you didn't say. AI can only respond to what you do say, and that's where I strongly encourage you, if you're writing a book, first, second, or third, is talk to someone like Rachel, so that your book can be clear, concise, and compelling, and keep it in your voice. That's another problem with AI. It kind of, if you're not careful, it can start sounding not like you. So anyway, that's my PSA.
I like
Did I
it.
miss? Did I miss anything, Rachel?
No, no, I think we're good. I think you're good.
So let's talk about the promise. So we know who we serve well. We know who we need to partner with. We know how we're finding them. That's kind of checking off people. And let's talk about the promise. Why should I hire an editor? Right? I'm an author. I'm writing a book. I want to keep it in my voice. I want to be authentic. Why don't I just do it myself?
Great question. So first off, you as the author have read it so many times that your eyes naturally skim over things that are probably an error. The
Mm,
human brain fills in the gaps too of even missing words or duplicate words. The number of times that I've seen it, something that says the word the twice. Well, the author said, "Well, I read that. I read that." Yeah, but your eye is so accustomed to reading it that it didn't even see the second the. So, I always say that this is a representation of you, of who you are.
mm,
You want to put your best foot forward. You need another pair of eyes, whether it's developmental editing or copy editing or even proofreading. There is tremendous value in making sure that you are putting out your best product.
mm.
Because even me, when I write something, I give it to somebody else to read because I've read it so many times that I'm gonna miss stuff, and this is what I do for a living. The other, and people say that all the time. Oh, I don't. They don't want to pay for an editor because it's expensive, right?
Mhm.
The process is expensive, and people are like, "Oh, I'll just do it myself," or "Oh, I'm gonna have my sister do it," or you know what, my nephew's in college and he's good with English and he'll do it. They always give me something like that.
Mm,
But again, without having a professional look at it, you're not guaranteed you're going to have the best product, right? Because they're going to look at it from also jaded eyes. So I believe in honesty. And if I don't, I'm not serving you or me if I'm not honest with you. And if I don't like something or I believe we can make it better, I'm going to say so
mhm,
because it doesn't serve you to put out junk, right?
mhm.
You may think, "Oh, this is wonderful," but I may say to you, "Hey, Bruce, you know what? You're missing a whole section of your story here that I have the access to you, and I can say, can you please give me some more information from a developmental standpoint?"
But if I can interject
I
there,
know, right?
oh, there's another
Yeah,
reason. You did that for me, and
I
there
did.
was a missing piece. You're like, hold on, you said you referenced something that's not there, and I was like, what? And then you're like, hey, this should go over here, and I was like, why do you think that, right? And she walked me through, and I was like, oh, it makes sense. So I moved it around, and that's something that was worth the investment for me because I'm leveraging this book to be the expert. It's got to look like it was written by an expert. It can't look like I did it over the weekend. So anyway, it was a great investment for me. What's the final point?
About editing.
Mhm.
Oh goodness, why the promise? What I was going to say was a suggestion. Actually,
Okay.
was regardless whether somebody edits themselves or thinks it's great, or I do it all the time, is there's nothing like printing your manuscript on paper, right? Because looking at it on the screen and actually printing it and seeing it on paper are two different things. And the number of times that I catch mistakes on paper and I feel like I'm back in, the second or third grade with my red pen. There you go. There you go. I sit at my kitchen counter with my red pen and I mark it all up, and I pitch things that I didn't see before because the eye sees things as a different medium,
Mm-hmm.
right? A different medium. So regardless, I always recommend, and I do it myself. I print everything and I read it that way
I
because
love
it
it.
makes a lot of sense.
So what I'm hearing is if you want to write a good book, you can do it yourself with technology. But if you want to write a great book, a great quality book, we need to hire someone like you.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
And Bruce, actually, if I can add one more point there, you as the expert, you're the author, the expert, you know the subject matter frontwards, backwards, upside down till tomorrow. The reader doesn't know the material yet. So what I find is most subject
Oh.
matter experts know it so well that they make assumptions about things that they assume that the reader knows more than they do.
Makes sense.
So it's my job as the editor to point those out to you and say, hey, Bruce, you're talking about something that may be a little too high level. We need to break it down a little bit, or fill in a hole, or expand on that a little bit more. So that way you don't lose the reader. Because the last thing you want to do is for that reader to be reading and go, boy, I don't understand what he's talking about, and put it down. Because
Mm-hmm.
you want to make sure that you are engaging enough that they continue reading. That's the idea. Because if they continue reading all the way to the end, the likelihood either A, they're going to come and hire you for your coaching or whatever, because now they respect you, they trust you. If they put the book down, they're like, well, I don't trust that guy, I'm not calling him. But secondly, they're likely to give the book to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so back to the referrals that we were talking about before. Your best referral as an author is your reader, because you want them to give the book to somebody else. And if you are publishing a piece of junk,
Uh-oh.
that's not going to happen. Not your case, because we made it great.
Listen, I'm smart.
Right.
I heard Rachel Arterberry.
Yeah. But the point is, if you don't produce, if you don't have it edited, if you don't get it developmentally edited, meaning so that the reader gets the whole picture, not just what the original author thought they wanted to deliver,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense, right? Because you have to come down to the reader's level, not just what the subject matter expert wants to share.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the process and the 4P. So anyway, if you're wondering where these questions come from, is from a book, Better Questions, Better Clients, right?
Yeah.
And so the framework is like to help us make better business decisions and attract and keep the type of clients we love to work with, right? So if you're wondering like where these pieces are coming from, that's where. So Rachel, business process, not the editing process. There's two things I see where, because you're very flexible, you're very easy to work with, it's very personal experience, and I love that. I would recommend like a client only link, maybe Calendly, Acuity, I don't know, iCal, and just say, hey, when you need some time, use this. And I think for me that would provide a little bit smoother experience because I can do it 3 a.m. or whatever goofy time something pops in my head, but it doesn't interrupt your flow when you're. I really think that would improve the client experience, and I say to improve because it's a good experience. I want to be clear about that. Um, where you might have, hey, here's your client link for reviews, right? We're going to do an editing session. We're going to do a recording session. And so then the Zoom link's in there. The calendar's blocked off. Easy. Oh, you meant 6 p.m.? I thought you meant Eastern time. I'm on Central. Right? It cuts all that out.
Yeah.
Parallel to that will be a payment schedule. And so I'll be transparent to anyone, catches recording. It's been a hell of a year. It's been a hell of a year. But one thing that I do for my clients, and I recommend for you, is set the expectation. Like it doesn't matter what you come up with. Every 2 weeks, 30 days, whatever we agree on, there's if you can set it up in Stripe to automatically draft, that's a really beautiful thing. That way they got to call you to change it. You don't have to chase them. Like, hey, what happened to you? Um, I can see that being a better experience for you on your end as a business owner. Say,
I
hey.
like the Stripe idea.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I talk about process, we look at how can we serve our clients with excellence, right? What's one less thing you have to worry about? Like you can just focus on serving your clients. What's one less thing the client has to worry about? Oh, I know it's going to be the 17th, right? Or whatever that Thursday is. Um, so we can focus on our area of genius. That's probably the two things for a process that I would encourage you to implement.
Yeah.
I had some notes on some things you did well. Your communication is top tier. Like you set the expectations. I was like, Rachel, we're gonna get this done in 30 days. And she was like, Bruce, she's like, I absolutely can do it in 30 days. But in my experience, it's gonna be more than 30 days. And I said, well, why is that? She's
Mm-hmm.
like, because we're gonna rewrite this, we're gonna brainstorm it, life's gonna happen. And she was right. We got it done, what, 60 days maybe?
Something like that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna go with 60 days.
Yeah. 60 days is good.
And so like having that experience and that expertise just is invaluable. So that's something you do very well, is setting expectations, thinking big
Mm-hmm.
pictures. Like I'm like, oh, this is good. Teach this to all my clients.
I try to keep you on track because it's life happens, right?
Oh man,
You have the
it's been
best
happening.
intentions. The best
Oh yeah,
intentions. We all have the best intentions, but life gets in the way of our best intentions.
it does. And it did. So that's something you do really well. Keep doing that.
Thank you.
The last one is pricing. And honestly, when you do those first three, pricing really becomes easy. And you don't have to share any prices here. If you're considering editing services, well, our contact information will be in the notes. But two things that you do really well is it's simple. I don't have to do like this quadratic formula to figure it out. It's simple. I'm like, okay, I get it. Um, there was something else that I like that you did. Oh, you're very transparent too. Like you're like, hey, you ask me a couple questions, and you're like, here, there's the number. Um, a lot of people I work with, they're like, oh, I'll get back to you, and it's like 2 or 3 business days. I'm like, you don't know your prices, or is it a secret? What's going on? So you didn't do that. You were super easy, and I was like, okay, that sounds good. Let's pull the trigger. Um, so that's something I want to encourage you to do really well, and that's a little thing, but it makes a big difference. It really does. It really does.
Mhm.
So
So about pricing, if I could kind of plug it for a second about
yeah.
developmental editing, I get a lot of people who reach out on LinkedIn or through the website, and the first question is, well, what is your price?
Mm,
Well, are we talking about a 500-word article that
mhm,
you'd like me to edit or a 50,000-word manuscript?
right.
Right? My price is going to be different for the two. So whenever people say to me, what is your pricing structure? Well, it really is going to depend because is it a developmental edit? What's the word count? What's your timeline? What condition is it in? Now, of course, condition is subjective
Mhm,
because again, the authors look at it and be like, my manuscript is all done. It's 100%. And I'm like, oh, okay, but you use the word there incorrectly every time, right? So most times what I say to people is I need to understand what the scope of work is
mhm.
because then I can give you a proper price. I don't want to just quote you some random number that's not going to be good for you or me, right? Because we both have to win here.
Yes.
In order for you to say yes, it has to work for both of us.
So what does that sound like? So I DM you LinkedIn. Say, hey, how much to work with you? How do you respond?
Typically, I say, well, can you be more specific? Or what I typically say is, can we schedule a call?
That's what I want to
Because
hear.
yeah, I always love to schedule a call because frankly, through email or DM, I can't ask the right questions. I
Mhm.
can't understand the true scope of the project. And I will never quote it without understanding because and to ask lots of questions. I don't feel comfortable doing anything without knowing exactly what I'm getting into.
I want everybody to listen to that. Do not quote prices DM unless I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of an exception. Unless it's like a workshop that's already scheduled and it's got a price on it.
Yeah.
Right. You already know what it is, how long it's gonna last, where it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But for something like me or that you do, where it changes from case to case, you are on the right path. Don't just give them a number
Mhm.
because it's going to be too high. You're going to lose a great client, or it's going to be too low.
Yeah.
And I got to come back and tell you something different. And unpleasant for us. So what I
Yeah.
like to say is, hey, I'm really excited that you reached out. To give you an accurate number, I'd love to have a conversation about what your needs are. So I'm not guessing. Uh, are you open to schedule a call? All right. So we schedule a call. And this is where there's two pieces. Oh, this is something else I want to share. There's some people call it discovery. Like, why are you writing this book? What do you
Mhm.
hope to accomplish from writing this book? And then there's the education. We talk about how many words, when are you going to write, when do you want this done? And that's where it gets really long text chain or email chain, but it could be a 30-minute call. And so it's not to be sneaky, shady, or secretive. I know I don't know until you answer these questions. But you were really good about that, setting that expectation as well. So
And
good. Keep that up.
frankly, thank
Mhm.
you. And frankly, you used a really great word. You said education. Most people, especially those who this is their first time writing a book, or even attempting to write a book, or even having the idea. I get a lot of people that say, "I have an idea and I want to
Oh,
write a book." Right? The book writing and publishing process is complicated. It's convoluted. It's got a lot of moving pieces, as you know, right?
mm-hmm.
Um, but when they go into the process, if they don't know, I feel it's my responsibility to share that information. So let's call them discovery calls, are usually me asking a lot of questions,
Good.
but more importantly, me sharing information because they don't know what they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, well, how many words do you think your manuscript is or will be? And they say, I don't know. Does it matter? It's, I don't know, a hundred
Does it
thousand words.
matter?
Well, it does matter because 100,000 words is a manuscript that's this, a book that's this thick versus 10,000 words, which is this thick. So it does matter. Of course, that means at more time. That means more collaboration. That means a lot. So people don't know what they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So my discovery calls are as much me learning about the scope, but also educating because most people can't answer my questions until I actually educate them first. And
Mm-hmm.
then they go, oh, or I'll ask the question, well, what do you want to do? To your point, what do you want to do with your manuscript?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just sell it? Is this a memoir for your family, for your legacy? Is it, is it an educational book? And all of those are the right answer for each person, right? Is what is the right answer for you? And that helps me determine, well, what kind of offering am I providing? What kind of pricing do I offer? Because it's going to determine what you need. If you just need editing and the rest of it you have figured out, great. But most people say, well, what do I do with it after it's edited? Okay, well, if you don't know, then I can help you with that. So then I provide those services as well now. The formatting, the publishing, the marketing if necessary. Because people don't know. They don't know what they don't know. It's not their fault.
That's why we hire experts. That's
That's
why.
exactly why
Why.
you nailed it.
I love him. What questions do you have for me?
Oh, I guess for me, pricing is always one of those touchy subjects,
Okay.
right? You put your price out there, and then we have our call. I say I'm going to put together a proposal. The next day, you have your proposal in your hands. They open it up and they go, oh. They're astonished at the price.
Okay.
Well, how do you? I guess my question is like, you never know from the initial call where their budget is. And I've tried to ask people like, okay, what's your budget? But if
Mm.
they don't know why they need or the value of editing, most people don't know how to price it. So any number would be shocking, right?
Yes.
So I guess
Especially for
my
the first
question
book.
is for sure, how do I gauge when they're going to say yes, right? Because I want the yes.
Beautiful question. Okay. Thank you for asking that. So, did you help me with my first one? With this
I
one?
did not.
No. Okay. You'll forgive me for that. I hadn't met you yet. So, this one is 90 pages. Okay. So what I would do if I were you, and this is part of education, and this for anyone listening, you want to give a range. You want to give a range based on what you've told me. I have options for you from $2,000 to about $7,500. Now, I know if this is their first book, you could confidently say this. I know you probably weren't expecting to hear that number. And I'm not going to ask you to make a decision now, but I want you to think about how well you want this project to come out and where you want me to be a part of that success. Okay. So that's the first part. So you say, just to give you an idea, editing and writing a book like this, you hold it up, right? You show is going to be X number of dollars. And then do I have, oh, perfect. And I want you to show them books because that's how minds work. All right. And to edit a book like this, right? That's going to be on the other end. Okay. And so they can start to see what you see because you see it every day. You don't look at it the same. So so visual aid is the first thing I would do. Oh, sorry, the range is the first thing. Visual aid is the second thing. And then I let them know, like, listen, we can, if you want to move forward, we'll have payment options to make it as easy as possible for you. What questions you have for me? Same question I asked you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I sit there and I wait, and they're going to ask you these questions and this and timeline and thinking about it. I don't make proposals except for people who have already said yes. Proposals are for people that say yes.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'll tell you the price on this call and then say, hey, would you like to move forward? Yes. Okay, great. Well, let's going to set up a proposal call. We're going to talk about payment options in another conversation. That lets them sleep on it. That lets them see if they're serious. Because what I really love is if they cancel that call, I'm great. I'm not wasting any more time. We put them on a nurture sequence. Say, hey, how's the book going? Can I make a recommendation to a printer? Right. And we're going to do value adds. That's something else in your process. Someone tells you no, I'm going to give them value adds. Say, hey, here's the book printer I work with, right? Send them Megan's info at BookLogic. Hey, here's a couple people I've used for cover design, right? And they'll start to see like, wow, there's a lot more of this. I do need some help. And they'll come back around. So I do a whole training on what to say when they say no. We won't do that here, but that's part of it. So range, visual examples, and then let them ask their questions before we get off the call. That's going to change how many times you hear yes, and it's also going to reduce time wasted on people that just can't say yes, and they just don't have the money, and that's okay. I just want to know it sooner than later, right? Questions, comments, concerns on that, suggestions?
No, I like it because I love your idea about doing a proposal after they say yes, because I spend a lot of time on a proposal, and
I know you do.
Then they may ghost me, and I never hear from them again. But yet I spent my time on the proposal. So that's brilliant because now you will start doing my process the other way around. And a lot of it is education, right? They may have been scared off or turned off when I start talking about the process or the pricing, because as I said before, they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
So they don't realize that there is, number one, people think editing is free. And number two, they don't realize how expensive it can be depending on the volume of what you're editing.
Well, hold on. I got to interrupt you because you said this before.
Go ahead.
Forgive me, but you keep saying it's expensive. Like, surgery isn't expensive if it saves your life. Like, it might cost a lot, but it's worth it. And so, health, wealth, and abundance to your life and your business, right? So I want to shift it. Like, it is a sizable investment, but it's worth it. Like, if it was just, maybe art's not the best example, but if it was just a painting that sits on my wall in a room, no one would ever see it, well, then that would be expensive. It doesn't make sense. But the value is that people are going to see it, and they're going to see it as a reflection to you. So in that case, is not doing it is more expensive because now I have 100 copies of this book no one wants to buy. Or maybe I sell 10 and only 10. which happens to most authors. Most authors don't sell 200 books in their lifetime. I don't want you to be most authors. What happens is someone reads this book and like, man, you got to read this. And that's what happens. People reach out to me. They'll say, hey, so-and-so told me to grab your book. And I'm like, oh, here you go.
There you go.
That's because I had an editor. Forgive me for interrupting, but we've got to find different language than expensive, because it's not expensive if it's worth it to me. It's not expensive if it's valuable. It's not expensive if it helps me achieve my goal. Then it's an investment.
Mm-hmm. I like it. That was changing language.
Because if you go around telling people it's expensive, then they're going to say, oh, it's expensive, and they're not going to spend the money. Because, hey, listen, this is an investment in a successful book. They're like, well, okay, I want this book to be successful. So they're going to spend the money. So we're using language to shape their mind. Yeah. Okay.
Like that.
So back to the education. A lot of people don't know what good editing is. Even if they printed a book before, they probably had, what is that? Edit, grammar review in Word, or maybe they use ChatGPT. And so they don't
Grammarly.
know. Oh Lord, don't get me started on Grammarly. So yes, so there's some education, and I think that you have to understand when you're sharing this price, it's not just a number, it's new information to them. They have to process that. And that's why I love to ask, like, what questions do you have about this price? And let them sit there and think about it. Like, okay, I didn't know it was going to be. And they'll say, I don't know that. I didn't know that it'd be that much. Hey, I understand. This is your first book, or maybe you haven't worked with an editor before. What prices? Write this one down. What prices were you expecting to see from your editor? And they're going to say one of two things. Well, the last editor I talked to said it's going to be, $500 for 50,000 words.
Oh goodness.
And you're like, okay. Or they'll say, well, I don't know. I've never talked to an editor before. And then you can have that conversation. And you say, hey, listen, editors vary in skill and experience. So my expertise, this is where I can serve you with excellence. Now they're like, oh, she's going to help me serve me with excellence. Okay, great. I need the best. And some people don't want the best, and I don't want to talk to them. And if they say, well, listen, for anyone listening, it's not $500 for 50,000 words. If you hear that from an editor, run.
Exactly.
Okay, that's like someone's like, hey, I'm going to paint your whole house for $20. That's what that is equivalent. You would be suspicious. So it gives you a chance to educate them. Like, hey, listen, everyone has different prices, but that sounds really suspiciously low. Do you mind sharing where you found this person? Oh, I found him on Fiverr. Okay. They may do an okay job. I don't want to talk negatively about anyone, but if you want a great job, you want someone this is where you talk about, hey, I've been doing this for X number of years. I've done X number. How many millions of words have you edited now? Are you tracking that number?
I'm not. I should have.
I want you to ballpark that.
It's in the millions. I'm sure.
I know it is. That would be a good number. You're like, man, how powerful would that be? Listen, hey, I'm Rachel Arterberry. I've helped authors edit over 15 million words. And I'd love to be part of your next book. I'd hire you. I'm like, well, I already did. I'm like, she knows what she's doing. I need to talk to her. Right. I want their price to make sense. Well, she's done, X number of books, X million of words. That number makes sense. Now it's a good value, right? Now it's a good investment. Now it's not expensive. I'm like, yeah, that sounds right. I need to pay her.
And she offers payment options, so I love it.
She really does make it easy. Listen, I'll tell you the sad story. I could write a blues song, but she was really flexible and patient, and she was like, hey, we're going to put this on pause till you get back on track. But she is super great to work with. So listen, I appreciate you being willing to put this on YouTube. Like and subscribe, tell your friends, I don't know, whatever. But I think this is an important conversation. And there's people like you and I care about what we do, but there's business conversations we don't really like to have, pricing, process, but are necessary part of giving you our best, right? I can't give you my best if I'm homeless and sleeping under a bridge, right? So I got to charge you. So I can serve you with excellence. And I hope this conversation helps someone else have better conversations with their clients and future clients. So any last words before we wrap up?
No, I thank you so much, Bruce, for this opportunity. It was awesome. I love chatting with you because it's awesome. Thank you.
Likewise, likewise.
And yeah, good luck with everything. Can't wait to see the book. Love it.
Yes.
And I'll talk to you soon.
I look forward to it. Thanks a lot, Rachel. Cheers.
I think. Bye bye.